Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering the solar system has been completely rearranged. Not destroyed, not invaded, just shuffled. Sounds harmless, right? But what if moving a single planet could freeze Earth, erase life, and tear the entire solar system apart? And here's the unsettling part. Scientists already know planets like this exist elsewhere in the universe. Massive worlds orbiting dangerously close to their stars. So what would happen if our planets suddenly switch places? Let's start with the biggest shock. Jupiter, the giant that normally takes 12 years to circle the Sun, would be dragged into Mercury's orbit. Suddenly, a journey that once took over a decade would last only 90 days. Temperatures would skyrocket. Its atmosphere would swell. Its icy moons would begin melting. Europa, one of the most promising places to search for alien life, could briefly reveal its hidden ocean. For a moment, that sounds exciting. But that excitement wouldn't last. The heat would keep rising. The water would evaporate. And any chance of life would disappear almost as quickly as it appeared. But that's not even the craziest part. Saturn would move into Venus's orbit. The beautiful rings that make Saturn instantly recognizable would start vanishing. Ice particles would melt. Solar winds would scatter dust across space. One of the most iconic sights in the solar system would simply fade away. And this is where things get weird. The Goldilocks Zone, the narrow region where life can survive, would no longer belong to Earth. Instead, it would belong to Uranus. At first glance, that sounds promising. More sunlight, more warmth, liquid water, energy, carbon-rich molecules. Everything life supposedly needs. Could Uranus become a second Earth? Not so fast. Beneath the excitement hides a major problem. Uranus has crushing atmospheric pressure and no solid surface. So despite checking nearly every box for habitability, it still fails the most important test. And that's when a much bigger question appears. If Earth loses the Goldilocks zone, what happens to us? What happens next changes everything. Because Earth isn't just moved. It's pushed into a cosmic nightmare. In this new arrangement, Earth becomes the fifth planet from the Sun. Farther away, colder, darker. At first, that might not sound catastrophic. But the consequences arrive fast. Sunlight drops dramatically. Oceans begin freezing. Weather systems collapse. Plants die. Food chains unravel. And eventually, almost every living thing disappears, including us. But here's the strange part. Humanity might not be the last survivor. Deep beneath the oceans, near hydrothermal vents heated by Earth's core, tiny ecosystems could continue living in total darkness. Life would cling to existence while the surface becomes an icy graveyard. Yet, even that isn't the biggest danger. Remember those giant planets packed together near the Sun? Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Now imagine their enormous gravitational fields constantly pulling on one another. The result? Chaos. Their combined gravity could destabilize the entire solar system. Planetary orbits could shift unpredictably. Some worlds might collide. Others could be ejected into deep space forever. And suddenly this stops being a climate disaster. It becomes a survival disaster for the entire solar system. But then comes the twist nobody expects. What if we reverse everything? Smallest planet closest to the Sun, largest farthest away. At first, this version looks safer. Mercury stays where it is. Mars moves inward and becomes warmer. For a moment, it almost feels like Mars might finally become habitable. But once again, reality ruins the dream. Solar winds would strip away much of its atmosphere. Surface water would struggle to survive. The red planet remains hostile. Then Venus enters the Goldilocks zone. This should be its chance. Its opportunity to transform into paradise. Instead, nothing changes. Its thick carbon dioxide atmosphere traps heat so efficiently that even perfect positioning can't save it. And that's when the uncomfortable realization hits. Being in the right location isn't enough. A planet can sit in the perfect spot and still be completely unlivable. Which raises an even more disturbing question. Is Earth special for reasons we still don't fully understand? The answer lies billions of years in the past. Long before Earth had oceans. Long before life existed. Long before humans could ask these questions. The solar system was nothing more than a gigantic cloud of gas and dust. Then gravity took over. Matter collapsed inward. The sun ignited. Planets began forming. But here's the hidden truth most people never hear. The planets didn't start where they are today. In fact, our solar system was once wildly unstable. And this is where it gets really weird. Around 3.8 billion years ago, Jupiter and Saturn briefly became gravitationally locked together. That small interaction triggered enormous consequences. Planetary orbits shifted. Jupiter migrated inward. Saturn moved outward. Uranus and Neptune drifted farther from the Sun. For millions of years, the entire solar system was rearranging itself. A giant cosmic game of musical chairs. And somehow, against incredible odds, everything settled into the configuration we see today. The result was extraordinary. Earth ended up in the exact region where liquid water could exist. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. The famous Goldilocks Zone. But that's not even the most fascinating part. Every scenario we've explored leads to the same conclusion. Move the planets around, and Earth freezes. Life disappears. Civilization ends. Even worlds that seem promising fail when tested. Uranus has no surface. Venus traps too much heat. Mars loses its atmosphere. Jupiter and Saturn create gravitational chaos. Again and again, the universe seems to reject alternatives, almost as if Earth's position isn't just lucky, but incredibly rare. Which leaves us with one final mystery. Out of countless possible arrangements, why did the solar system settle into the one version capable of supporting life? Was it pure chance? A cosmic accident? Or are we living in the only arrangement that ever had a real chance of working? Because the more we explore these possibilities, the harder that question becomes to ignore.